afternoon or good evening or good night, as they say in The Truman Show. What a good movie The Truman Show is. The guy that escapes from an artificial life to break out and go and explore reality, which is very apt for how I feel about the journey I've been on. It is the 1st of March, start of a new season. It's about 7 a.m. I'm down here at Long Beach once again. I've been here a few times. Just love the place. Nobody here. Overcast morning, but very still and calm and quiet and beautiful. And thought I'd walk and talk and take the opportunity to reflect on February, my first month of nomadic life. And it has been amazing. I think I can honestly say it has been the greatest month of my life. And I say that, and there's part of me that also thinks I'm probably going to say that every month from now on for the rest of my life. And I suppose the reason I say it, it's like I'd been this eagle enclosed and trapped in a cage, a cage of my own construction, a cage of my own doing. It's like I looked around and everybody was building these cages in which to be safe and secure in. And so I built myself a cage that I thought was what I was meant to be doing, to feel safe and secure. And then realizing that it didn't make me feel safe and secure, it just made me feel trapped. And so this past month has been a beautiful validation of what it feels like to be a free eagle, an eagle that has been in a cage for a long time, and then learning to fly, learning to stretch my wings and trust in the winds to just lift me up and take me and soar me to new heights and show me things that I've not seen before. And so it's been incredible, amazing experience. And it is, it's not that any particular highlights or any particular places, it's the sense of freedom, it's the sense of peace, and the sense of love, and the sense of possibilities. Peace, love, and possibilities. And it exists in every moment. It exists in this moment now. Who knows what I might see or encounter or experience or feel as I walk along this empty beach on a quiet morning. So having said there were no particular highlights, I'm now going to talk about some of the highlights. I think one of the things I've really enjoyed is exploring, I guess, creating YouTube content, visual story. I have enjoyed exploring that more creative side of trying to make little movies and think about how to tell little stories. And so, yeah, I guess, you know, it was, for me, normally quite a sort of private person, or perhaps maybe more fearful of being authentic is probably the way to describe it. More fearful of being judged, that who I am is not something that a lot of people are going to meet, are going to understand or relate to. And so it's probably more, you know, maybe that's why I came across as private or shy or quiet or reserved. And have sort of, not surprisingly, completely let go of that. But there was some apprehension about starting, you know, being so fully honest and authentic in a public forum. But I have asked myself the question, well, why am I doing it? Why do it? That's a good question. And it is mostly for me. It is for me, you know, twofold. One, to just document the moments, and for me to, you know, I don't necessarily have the greatest memory, actually stopping and reflecting and thinking about things. And I'm careful about using these words, because I think we can tell ourselves the wrong stories. But there is an element of living life and letting it be a story, and understanding the story, and looking for the threads in the story and the themes, and then also letting them guide and direct and see, you know, where that might go and where that might take. So yeah, I guess the in many ways the audience is me, and so my family and friends, please feel no obligation to sit through watching any of this stuff. I'm not expecting you to sit through my ramblings. I'm not sure that I'll do it too often. There's someone in the water having a swim. Nice. A couple of people. But yeah, I guess the other reason for doing it is about exploring what authentic feels like. And it is about, like, it's one thing to say in your head, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is what I do. It's another thing to put that out loud in public. And so part of the journey of discovering who I am is to try that, is to voice these things out loud and see what feels authentic and what doesn't. And it is quite a different experience from it being, you know, if you're in a particular place, in a particular frame of mind, then thoughts can seem very clear and obvious, and then you can review that later and it maybe not seem so clear and obvious. Yeah, but exploring making videos has been fun, and I made a couple of, obviously I did the first video. That was a bit of a big deal, a bit of a big moment to actually put that out there. And then I did a few other little things. I did a video that I shared on a Facebook group of solo travelling that was just me walking along a beach. That was a bit of fun. And then I made a little one that was sort of almost a marketing video for my van. I do love my van. My van is the consistent thing in my life. It is the, you know, it is the sanctuary. It is there is a lot of uncertainty. I guess there's a lot more uncertainty and unknowns about where I'm going to be, but the van is the consistent thing. I know where everything is in it. I know, you know, it's extremely comfortable. I can happily be in there. So it was a bit of a celebration of my van. I do love my van, whose name is Alby. So I mentioned stories. One of the stories that I found interesting. Where to start the story? So, at the start of the month, I wrote in my journal about not knowing when I would next see someone in person that I know, and so it was a complete unknown. Driving off, not expecting to see anyone. Yeah, really not knowing, not having any date of when I would see someone again that I know. So I think it was probably in the first week of February. I was just at my computer working away, and then I followed I think I must have jumped on Facebook and saw something about Missy Higgins. She'd posted something. Don't know why Missy Higgins came up on my feed, but she posted something about doing a Red Hot Summer tour. And anyway, I looked that up and I could see that it was going to be in the middle of February. And so I'm like, okay, follow the lead. It was like an effortless thing. I'm curious. I go check it out. And so I bought myself a ticket to go to this Red Hot Summer tour with an amazing lineup. Paul Kelly, Missy Higgins, The Cruel Sea, Cat Empire, Casey Chambers, Jess Hitchcock, and went from 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was actually Valentine's Day. Yeah, it was Valentine's Day. 1 o'clock in the afternoon through to 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, it was fun. I'm still. It's interesting. There might be a bit of a theme of attending some live music. I know I was at Woodford at the start of the year, and then went to this concert, and I've actually booked to go see another concert next month. Oh, this month now. So during the I think it was Casey Chambers. It would have to be Casey Chambers because she's just so. They're all beautiful people and all very down to earth. But anyway, Casey Chambers, I'm sure at some stage said something about. I think a little bit of pee just came out then while she was on stage. She's just so authentic and honest, and I love the no need to filter. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit with this story. So at the concert, anyway, my friend Kelly, I'm just walking around, my friend Kelly and Dave spot me and call out, and so they are the only people that I know that I have seen in person this month. And so that was a delight to bump into them and got to sit with them, and I was that annoying person that got everyone to move along a little bit so that I could squeeze in beside them. It was in that process that I met Mel. Anyway, we got to talking. I don't know how, just following the bladder theme, I don't know how I got onto this, but Mel and I connected very quickly about just a level of authenticity and honesty, and again this sort of no filter. I had mentioned that one of the fascinating things about the concert experience was going to the Portaloos, the men's Portaloos, and it was this. I was expecting it to just be rows of Portaloos, that you step into, the little cubicle things, but the gents was set up. You sort of walked around this temporary scaffolding fences and into this. I'm going to describe it as a great hall, but it was open air. But it was sort of, imagine sort of the size of this great hall, these big plastic trough urinals down either side, and this I mean, Rome's got the Trevi Fountain, Vegas has got the Bellagio, and Berry had the pop-up men's urinal. This synchronicity of blokes just moving, there was no, into space, and big streams of everything happening. So I was trying to describe it to Mel, saying, if I could have got a drone photo of it, it would have been incredible. And so we were just laughing about the absurdity of that. So probably hugely offensive to all those great artists that my highlight of the concert, and I'm not saying it's the highlight, but the memorable experience of the concert, one of the more memorable experiences of the concert was the Portaloos. But how fantastic those artists should feel so proud. What they do is bring people together and create moments, and it's their music that does that. So and the music was amazing. I actually really like the Cruel Sea, even though I'm a bit, the music's very, I want to say macho. It's very masculine. And it wasn't really that crowd. It was Valentine's Day. But I had fun getting in the zone to Tex doing his thing. And Paul Kelly was amazing. They were all amazing. Cat Info was great. It bucketed down with rain at one moment, and so that probably was one of the highlights. It's just to be dancing with a bunch of people in the rain. It was very fun. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether I have an emerging theme of doing some sort of live music thing on a regular basis. Hasn't been something I have done before, but it seems to be happening with very little effort at the moment. So I'm gonna go see Ben Lee in a couple of weeks, so that'll be fun. Hot diggity dog, check out this beach and this day and this life. Amazing. Oh my god, have a look at this beach. God damn, it is beautiful. What a day. Bit of wind, but hey, that happens. Hope they don't step on a stingray. Oh my god, this is beautiful. Another little moment that was quite special and I think worth sharing and repeating and remembering was I drove through a place called Bawley Point, which I don't believe I've been to before, but my big complex extended family has connections to Bawley Point. So I was curious to go check it out, and in particular I'd heard about the Bawley Point gantry. It's sort of a pier or a wharf thing that people jump off into the water. And so it was a beautiful sunny day, and I got there and I could see people jumping off, and I'm like, oh, I was driving through heading towards somewhere, so I was debating, and I went, yep, I'm going to go. Well, I didn't. I said I decided to jump in and do a bit of snorkeling, and so I went and did a bit of snorkeling and got as I was snorkeling, I headed out towards the gantry. And so, yeah, I got to the gantry and decided, yep, well, I'm here, I'm going to jump off it. Alright, I'm going to send it. Woo! But it was curious, I noticed there was this lady there that I got the sense that she had been standing there for a while trying to psych herself up to jump off, and she might have been there with her kids. I can't quite. But anyway, she noticed me, and she sort of said, "Oh, you know, am I in the way? Do you want to?" And I'm like, "Oh no, you're fine," you know. But it was quite interesting moment in that, I mean, I'm traveling on my own, I know no one, and yet I have met a lot of people, but generally, and when I say generally, I think she is actually the only exception I can think of. In all other cases, I've been the one that has approached and initiated and, you know, sort of opened up and just tried to establish whether this person was up for the conversation or not. Whereas she was the first person that I guess saw me and acknowledged me and asked me. And so it was a tiny, tiny little moment, but actually quite significant, because I mean, I have been introverted most of my life, and so approaching people and starting up conversations does require a certain amount of energy, and it's beautiful when you get it back. When you know, this is why I'm becoming more extroverted, because when you meet like-minded people and you exchange the energy, it is so uplifting and so beautiful. So but yeah, anyway, so there was something, and definitely something in her energy that was curious, and whether it was partly her fear, and so, you know, she was trying to do something that felt uncomfortable. She was about to, you know, jump off this thing into outside of her comfort zone, and so perhaps there was an element of her fear that was looking for connection and yeah, reassurance. Or not. I mean, it could have just been that she was just being polite. But to me, there was something in that energy and in that moment. Anyway, I jumped off. Great, had fun. And then I hung around a little bit afterwards just to get some video of people jumping off. And what was interesting was, I don't know what the connection with the guy was, whether it was her husband or something. But anyway, she did eventually jump off, but it was only when this guy came along and held her hand, and they jumped together. And such a, you know, I'm just tingling thinking about it, because it's such a tiny little moment. But it is the essence of life, and, you know, going outside your comfort zone and jumping off can be a scary thing, and sometimes you just want someone to hold your hand and help you. And for me, I hope I can be that person for people, and I know I've got those people in my life that do that for me. So yeah, connection, so important. So yeah, Bawley Point gantry was a little moment, and has become a little part of my history, of my story as well now. So I enjoyed that. I have met a lot of people this month, which is lovely. And every person I meet is amazing, and there's always something to learn from everyone. And you know, in a lot of cases they're just very short little conversations, but there is connection, and there is I don't know how to describe it. I guess it is just that sense of connection that you know, the world is actually a good place. There are beautiful people here. But there's a few people in particular that have had a special, even more special impact. And so it's apt that I'm on Long Beach right now. Because I've met a few people on Long Beach, but the one that's very early, actually, I think it was actually the first weekend. Not sure, maybe I need to take this story back even a bit further and mention how I found myself in Currarong, which is where I am today. I'll be leaving here today. But I've been here twice over February. So when I left my property, my lovely neighbours David and Vera invited me around for a delightful farewell meal, delicious food and drink, and just wonderful natural environment and relaxed and conversation. Yeah, just beautiful, perfect. And we got talking about my plans, and I sort of said, well, I haven't really got plans, I'm going south. And then David lit up talking about this place called Currarong on the south coast. And so I made a note of it, and I grew up in a place called Currajong, so it wasn't lost on me the synchronicity there, or the similarity there, or even just the fact that it connected me back to my childhood in some ways. So I met Mark on my first full weekend of solo travelling, living this nomadic life. And it was definitely one of those moments that wasn't coincidence. I don't really believe in coincidence. I think everyone's got the potential to be a guide, but this in particular was extremely obvious. So Mark had been doing quite a bit of travel. He still had a home base, but he'd done a lot of travel, and he was familiar with the lifestyle of travelling on your own. And more importantly, he shared with me that he's inspiring me that I'm on the right journey. His story is his story. For me, it was this validation that I'm on the right journey, that I'm waking up to some spiritual truths, I guess, more. Yeah, hard to describe when you haven't experienced it. But yeah, I certainly got the impression that Mark had experienced it, and so it was extremely timely because it was the start of my trip. The Saturday before I met him, which was on the Sunday, so the day before I met him, I had been restless, unsettled, looking for that sort of connection. I'm sort of like, well, you know, I'm here. What do you want me to do? In fact, what actually happened was I went and bought a couple of pizzas, and they were disappointing pizzas. Admittedly, I have been very spoiled with pizzas because my good mate makes the best pizzas, and so no other pizza's ever going to come close. But these were particularly disappointing pizzas. I'd actually been trying to, I bought two, only I didn't want two, but they were big pizzas. But I wanted a bit of garlic pizza and I wanted a bit of something else. So I'd actually been trying to give them away before I'd even tasted them. And then when I tasted them, I was even keen to try and give them away. Eventually I'd try and find someone that would take my pizzas. But I'm not sure they liked them, because later I was walking and I saw what looked like the remains of some pizza that someone had thrown on the ground. Anyway, so the point being, on the Saturday I had felt a bit lost and disconnected, and so it's just starting to rain, which is an interesting connection back to Mark, because I was walking on the beach in the rain. This is quite possibly one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and I've pretty much got it to myself. There's one guy way off there, down there in the distance behind me, and I'm hoping it's an eagle's nest up in front of me. I'm going to go check it out. There was one guy here earlier, one person on the beach, and I had been following some eagles down the beach, and I just stopped and was checking out the eagles when he caught up with me and walked by, and I stopped and got chatting to him, and oh my God, right place, right time, just insane. A spiritually awakened guy. And again, I can't articulate the words. It's just something you feel and know. But everything he said was absolutely on point, absolutely what I needed to hear in that moment. It's perfect. So it was one of those pinch me moments that leave me with no doubt that the answers are all within me, and that when I am at peace and can tune into those things, then life becomes effortless. And I love that. And so that was super special to make Mark's acquaintance. And we swapped numbers and sent a few texts. There's not a lot that I've had a need to say, but I know at some point we will reconnect and explore the story further. It's just, there's no need to rush it. It'll happen when it makes sense. So, thank you, Mark.